And I think we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So, oh my goodness, Margaret, I am just looking at what you have on your lap there. Can I gate crash your stitching party there and come and visit for a second?
Sure. Hold on.
Wow.
It has been hanging around for quite a while. And it's actually going to a special event. So there it is. So I'm just hand binding on right now.
Okay. So that's one of the original Christmas stocking advent quilts.
Absolutely. It tells you how long it's been hanging around waiting for a binding.
You know, any length of time is just fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting because when I saw it draped across your knee, it looked a lot bigger. Because those are 5 inch by, how big are those blocks?
I added
5 by 6 inches or something?
Yeah, I don't remember whether you had the big border on it or not. It's
Probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's doing it.
Right, because I need it. So let me see if I can stand up and do it. Well, let me turn around. I'm trying to get it done because I have to turn it in. So, and the last minute, but let me stand back here so you can see.
Wow.
It. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It was
fun.
It was fun
you know, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And so when did you actually make the quilt?
Oh my Lord. Probably right after you first released it.
Okay, which is a while ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. Life interfered. So
that happens to us all, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
that happens to us all.
Yeah,
well, it's beautiful.
I'm still doing the tree skirt. I'm on the train rope right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, we will look forward to seeing that soon.
We'll see. We'll see how now I got to find out where I was.
Well, I will leave you in peace to finish working on your binding there.
I'm going to be in serious trouble if I don't get it done.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay. We have some questions. And Bryony, I am going to start with you because I have to say I read your question and I could not help but laugh.
When I saw that picture to start with, I thought, why is there a toilet plunger in the middle of the room? And then my thought was, who travels with the toilet plunger?
Okay, so the story behind the toilet plunger. So the video, when I watched it through the house, was I took it on the day that I closed. So it was the day that I got the key. And I came over here because it's 91 miles door to door from the old place to this place, right? So I came over here to get the key, even though everything's on punch the numbers, right? So I didn't really need the key, but and also to meet the painter who was coming in to paint before we moved all of the stuff in. So I walked through the door into my empty house, and Erin and Steve, who lived here before, did such a good job of cleaning and emptying the house. There was nothing in the house, right? Except for this rather large cockroach sitting somewhere about there. So I literally had what was in my purse and my cell phone and this giant cockroach. And so I'm looking in all of the kitchen cupboards, which were all empty. I'm looking under the kitchen sink, and they'd left some cleaning supplies, but bottles of stuff. And the only thing in the house that I could find that was even remotely serviceable for containing a cockroach was the toilet plunger in the downstairs bathroom. So my thought was, I hope this thing is clean because this is going to be sitting on top of that cockroach until I can find a nice person to help me escort it outside. So that is why there was a toilet plunger. I didn't bring it with me. It was literally the only thing in the house that could potentially have been used. So, and then the painter came, and I said to him that he is such a sweetheart. I said to him, would you by any chance be willing to get the cockroach under the toilet plunger out of here for me? And it turns out he hates cockroaches as much as I do. And he was kind of terrified of the thing. I mean, it was like this big. It was a big one. Anyway, maybe next time if I ever buy another house, I might actually go in with cockroach catching supplies in my car.
Just made me laugh.
Good. Well, your question made me laugh, so I had to start with that. Anyway, we are on the countdown. Let's see. We are 1 month and 5 days.
Something like that, yes.
Or what day do we start?
I think it's the 8th of
or maybe it's the
September.
9th.
8th or 9th
The
of
which-
September.
Yeah, I think it's the 8th is Sunday, isn't it?
That's
So we're all
yes.
getting together. So, okay, 1 month and 6 days. I will see you in person.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Okay. I have to say that was, and Bryony did preface this by saying nothing to do with quilting, but I just have to know why. I think that particular question made me laugh more than any other we've received so far. Okay, let me see. Now we get on to the serious stuff. Ruth, I am coming to ask you to unmute here. And let me see. I am going to add you to the spotlight. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Okay, so Practical Joy, you finished embroidering block 1 and are trying to line up the block to quilt it. Printed a transparent template of the first quilting design. Can I use that to hoop my block for the quilting? Yes. Now, which machine are you using?
Destiny 2.
Okay. And do you have a magnetic hoop for it?
Yes, I have the big
The
dime
240
one.
by 360? You think should fit on your machine?
Yeah, I did the whole top with, or even the whole block with that.
Okay, awesome. So you don't actually have to use transparent template. You could just use a regular piece of printer paper. And when you print it, it should come up with a crosshair in the center of it. So if you use the advantage to the transparency is that you'll be able to see through it, right?
Right.
Versus a printed piece of paper, you can't. But yeah, if you lay the transparency over the area that it's going to be quilting, and then hoop it, you'll want to align the hoop with the crosshair on the prints out with the template, and that should get you that should get you very close to where everything needs to go. My experience of hooping quilts, whether you're using a magnetic hoop or any other kind of quilt, or any other kind of hoop rather, it will shift just a little bit, but you'll get into a very close ballpark. And then does your Destiny have the camera or the projector on it?
It has, yes, it has camera on it.
You could use that to do some fine tuning.
Okay. on the embroidering, I was having a trouble getting the Destiny to move very far when I was trying to line things up. But I will do some more digging in my books and see if I can get that to work for me with the quilting.
Okay, with the applique designs, they are more than likely going to be filling the hoop up. So there'll be a limited, it's
Right.
possible there might be a limited amount of space for moving around. With the quilting designs, typically there's a bit more space.
Okay, so since if I
So
stay
it
with
might,
the really,
as long as you know how to move left, right, up, down, and the little and the rotation.
yeah,
Yeah, with the quilting designs, there's more than likely there will be quite a bit more space around the designs.
okay,
And that's specifically to allow you to maneuver it just a little bit in the hoop.
okay,
If you pop into, are you in our Facebook group?
yes,
Because if you pop into the Facebook group, you'll find lots of people who are very familiar with the baby lock machines and can help with how to do the moving around if you need it.
okay. Well, I think you're right. I think probably the reason I couldn't move it with the embroidery is there wasn't much extra space. So
Yeah.
I have the embroidered one right here.
Beautiful. It's looking good.
I'd like to finish that block up and move on to the others.
Have you done any quilting in the hoop before?
Not with any of your designs. Well, I did a sample.
Okay, the little,
Yeah,
okay. Because I was going to say, if you haven't done that one, try that one, and that will, get you started for getting the alignment correct.
right. When I did it, I had not gotten the big hoop yet. So again, my hoop was so small that it wasn't moving much. But
Okay.
I hadn't thought about that being the reason it didn't move. So I will see if I can come a little closer with this.
Okay. Yeah, you should. For most of the designs, there should be a decent amount. As long, the template will help you get in the ballpark, fairly accurate, and then you should just have some minor adjustments to make.
Okay.
So
All right.
give us a shout out on Facebook if you need any specific how to move and rotate and stuff on your specific machine. Okay?
Yep. Thank you very much. Your house
You
is
are very
beautiful.
welcome. Thank you.
I have to tell you, when I saw the plunger there, I assumed it was to keep somebody from bumping their head on the chandelier.
Well, that thing there, yeah, it's a tall person nightmare. And I don't know if I can see if I can get my finger pointing. That
Yeah.
one there is even worse. That
Okay.
one, we have the dining table right underneath it, which has saved a dozen bumped heads. This one here, I kind of think I'm going to have to replace it with something, or somebody said I might be able to lift it up just a little bit because it's really a good head banging experience. And my plan for laying the furniture out does not have anything sitting underneath it. That officially is supposed to be the dining room.
Right.
So I guess the plan was to have a table underneath it, but that's kind of it's good real estate for the studio without putting anything under there, so we will have to figure that one out.
Well, it's very nice.
Thank you. I love it here too. Okay, let me know how you get on with your quilting.
Yeah, I'll try and bring it to our show and tell the end of the month.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Now, I have to say, I haven't looked at the calendar, and I am going to look at the calendar right now. Does that mean that we have 5 Fridays? Oh my goodness, we do have 5 Fridays. Ruth, I'm happy you said about that because it hadn't really quite I haven't looked at the calendar in quite a while. Okay, let's see. Linda, working on the butterfly, coming to ask you to unmute, Linda.
Okay.
And let me find you here to spotlight. Hello,
Hello.
how's it going?
It's going. I've got a start on it. I actually printed everything out. I've read through everything several times. I didn't see any notes for, it said extra fabric required for the binding. So I am a total novice when it comes to quilting. So I need everything
Okay.
spelled out.
So you're making the butterfly quilt,
Yes.
and so the dimensions, oh my goodness, the final dimensions, if do you know by any chance what they are off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay,
Oh,
let
okay,
me
here it is. 47 by 38 and a half.
Okay, that sounds about right. So I love to do piped bindings.
Okay.
If I am, let me just get a link for you, because we have a class on how to do the no hands pipe binding. And once you've used it one time, you'll want to apply it to all of your quilts. So it's a binding that is completed 100% using your sewing machine, and it has a narrow piping tucked in between the binding and the actual quilt. So it really makes quite a huge wow factor difference to your quilts. And I love it because I don't like sitting hand stitching bindings down.
Okay.
So, and we have a class on how to do that, and I will, my system is, let's see, I'll grab you a link. Yeah, this is the really popular way of finishing. There, pop that in the chat. That it's a really popular way of finishing your quilt. So I like to do my bindings with the no hands pipe binding so that there are no seam lines or no joins along any of the edges. So 47 inches, you want to add at least 2 inches, probably 3 inches on either end, which puts you at 53 inches. So given that the width of a piece of fabric is what, 44 inches, you would end up having a join if you cut your binding on the width of the fabric, right?
Right.
So it uses more fabric because you need to cut on the length of the fabric. So you need 53 inches, or 54 inches is a yard and a half. But that will allow you to cut the binding pieces in one length without having to put any joints on.
Okay.
Okay.
So you cut those first then before you cut out your other pieces?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I typically will do that. So a yard and a half, you'll, depending on how wide you want the binding to be, if you do a 1/2 inch finished binding on it, then you'll need to cut your strips at 3.5 inches wide. And all of the measurements are included in the class. But 3.5 inches wide. So 3.5 inches times 4 is okay, 3.5 times 2 is 14 inches. So you'll use 14 inches from the length, which gives you a fairly sizable piece for the rest of the whatever you use the rest of it for. If you are if you use the same color for the binding and the piping that maybe you use for the for the squares in the border,
Mm-hmm.
if the instructions are telling you for the squares in the border to cut widthways, you can always cut them lengthways instead.
Okay.
Does that help? Does that get you into confusion?
I think that all of the instructions do say width of fabric for cutting
Yeah,
them out.
they probably do, and you can still cut with the fabric, but given that you're going to have chopped 14 inches off the side, your width of fabric is going to be a little narrow. Do you want me to pull up the instructions and we can have a more in-depth look at them?
If you have time, that'd be great.
Absolutely. Let me just see here. The butterfly. Let's see. Okay. Let me share my screen here. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So you've got there's 3 different colors here used for the diamonds
Right.
in the borders. So any one of those colors you could use for the binding. I've used this color here,
Mhm.
the dark teal, and looks like I used the green for the piping. So let's see, it's saying, so pool is the pool, ocean, and pear. Pool is this color here. Ocean is the darker teal, and pear is this one. So when it says 1 yard of pool, 1/4 of a yard of both of these two, if you go to 1.5 yard, let's see, no, it would be ocean. If you went up to 1.5 yards of ocean so that you can do the binding, typically I like to put a darker color for the binding because that kind of contains everything inside the quilt. Whereas if you use a lighter color, it's almost like everything has the possibility of flying off into outer space.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
yeah. So if you got 1.5 yards of ocean, then you would have more than enough to do the binding and take care of this 1/4 yard that you need for everything else, right?
Okay.
For the piping, it's a bit extreme to say go to a 1.5 yards of this for the piping as well. In an ideal world, that is what I would do. A pinch, you could join the piping fabric if you cut it across the width, because you're only going to be cutting inch wide pieces for the piping. So at a pinch, you could do those joined. If you do that, then you can add just an extra 1/4 of a yard on here, so 1/2 yard instead of a 1/4 yard. But you do want to make sure that you join the binding pieces on the diagonal. So you want to cut the ends at 45 degrees and press the seam open when you join them, join the lengths together. So that one's going to be up to you. The easy way is to just buy 1.5 yards so that
Okay.
you can cut them in the one strip. So for the ocean, let's see. So for the ocean, it's saying you want to cut with the fabric by 2 inches for the diamond. So instead of cutting, first of all, cut the binding, right? So
Okay.
you're going to cut that 54 inches by 3.5, 4 pieces. And then with the you'll have the remaining width of fabric. You'll need 2 pieces of the remaining width of fabric by 2.5 so that you can cut the squares for the diamonds. Okay.
Okay.
And then the 2 pieces 4x4 for the corners. That should be easy just to cut from what you've got left. So what else? How big was the ocean? Yeah, the ocean was 1/4 40 yards. So that's really all that you need for the ocean. So the binding is going to be the bulk of it, and these pieces. So you will have a decent sized piece of fabric left at the end of it.
Okay. Okay, so the binding is going to be, where did I see it?
And it's probably got this thing about binding it right at the end, right?
Okay, binding is 3.5 inches wide and the piping is 1 inch wide.
Yes.
Okay.
So just so that you know where we get those numbers from, for the piping, you're going to take the 1 inch wide. You want to get some number 3 crochet cotton to use as the cording that goes in it. And this is all explained in the class for the video, with the video. You'll tuck the cording along the center of the 1 inch wide piece and basically just fold it in half. What kind of machine do you have?
Bernina 790 plus.
Okay, you'll want to get, if you don't already have, a number 31 5-groove pin tuck foot.
31. Okay.
Yes, I think it's 31.
Pin tuck. Okay.
5-groove pin tuck foot. And you'll use that to make the piping and to apply the piping onto the binding. So the binding, if you're finishing with a 1/2 inch, you've basically got a 1/2 inch for the seam allowance, a 1/2 inch to go on the bottom, a 1/2 inch to go on the top, which gives you 1.5 inches times 2, because you're going to do a folded binding. So that gives you 3 inches, and then the 1/2 inch is to allow a little bit of fudge factor.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any more questions so far?
I'm with you most of the way. It'll be interesting when I actually sit down to do it, but I will watch that video. How do I save the video that's in the chat for me?
If you click on it right now, it'll open up a link
Okay.
so that you can purchase the class, and then you'll have the class in your library, so you can go back to it over and over again. So there's
Okay.
printed instructions and there's a video so that you can see every step of the way how the whole thing works. And as I said, once you've learned how to do this, it is my absolute favorite way of binding a quilt, because you don't have to do any hand sewing at all.
Okay. Was this part of another class that you did where you offered it free when you introduced it? So it sounds familiar.
Yes, so look in your library first, because it's possible, depending on what you purchased before, it's possible you might already have it in your library.
Okay. Do you remember which project it was?
Usually, well, it will be a separate product in your library.
Oh, okay, then I don't have it. Okay.
So, okay, yes, we've usually offered it with our Block of the Month programs when we first launched them.
Okay. I have not done any of those. Okay.
And if you have any more questions, we've got another Zoom in 2 weeks, but you can always jump into the Facebook group as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, let's see. Find my list of questions here. Nancy, coming to ask you to unmute.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Not too bad.
Good. Okay, the Hearts and Kisses quilt. Number 1, on step 1, when aligning the background triangles, do they align with the fabric strips or with the placement lines? Okay, I am going to confess that my brain is feeling somewhat like mush right now. What exactly are you trying to do here?
Okay, when you put the two small pieces together and you stitch them across and then open them up and iron them, press them,
Okay, piecing.
and then you attach the triangle. My is there's a line that I thought probably the fabric was supposed to, when you pressed it open, should have come down to that line.
Which size blocks are you making?
8-inch.
8-inch. Let me pull up the instructions here just a moment. Let's see. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, um, so these triangles.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, right.
Let's see.
Okay.
Looking at some pictures.
Okay.
Okay, so it's in step one.
Correct.
Of the piecing. Okay, so it doesn't actually. This is showing the 4-inch blocks, but it doesn't
Right.
really matter. So first of all, you're gonna stitch the placement lines.
Yep.
And then you're going to position your two pieces of fabric, the two short rectangles, right side together, with the dark one on top, and it's going to stitch that seam. So when you press this open, the top of this here should hit that line there.
Okay. Mine doesn't quite hit it. So when I place the triangle, do I place it on that line? I mean, I'm talking less than 1/8 of an inch, probably.
Okay. As long as you've got a really good press here, and you're well within 1/4 of an inch here, you're gonna be in good shape, because when you put the triangles down, ideal world, everything being perfect, you'll have the triangles matching along the top edge here for the first run. And then when you do the second, and you're going to do those, you're going to flip those up one line at a time, so that when you do these guys, so this is the one where you're a little tiny bit short.
Yes. So just line it up with that placement line?
Yeah, you can line it up with a placement line, or you could actually line it up with the edge of your fabric, because as long as you're less than 1/8 of an inch away, you'll still have a good 1/8 of an inch in your seam allowance.
Okay. Okay.
So the advantage of having the advantage of going with the edge of the fabric rather than the placement line is that your triangles will wind up being that teeny tiny bit bigger. So you'll just have a little bit more leeway when you're trimming the final blocks.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so that was your first question. Let me see. Goodness, my mouse is going haywire here. Okay, so you cut the 12-inch block on the wrong side, so that the width is now 12.5 inches. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
Because you're going to be putting it down on batting, right?
Yep.
So you should be just fine.
Okay, I thought I would be, but I just wanted to make sure before I went any further.
Yeah, I kept them bigger just to have a bit of fudge factor space. But make sure that you based all the way down the sides so that
Okay.
it doesn't have any reason or excuse to shift inwards.
Okay.
But you'll have the batting and you'll have the backing fabric, so you'll have plenty to go into the you'll be trimming before putting the sashing strips on, so you'll
Right.
have plenty of space
Okay.
there.
I just wanted to make sure before I kept going.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine. So no
Okay,
need to no need to recreate at all.
Okay. Fantastic.
Good. Any more questions?
Not today.
Okay, well, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
Bring your, are you going to be finished by the end of the month, do you think?
Probably not. I have company coming on the 9th through the 22nd, and then I have to go back up with my sister again. So I don't think so. But it's
Well,
fine.
bring wherever you're at to show everybody.
Okay, I will.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks then.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see. Janet, I sent you an email to answer your question. So let me see. Gail is not here. Has never Zoomed before and doesn't know where to start. Gail, if you are watching the replay by any chance, or let me just see if you are maybe I am looking to see if Gail might actually be watching on Facebook or YouTube. And to be absolutely honest with you, I have absolutely no idea what's going on out there. So never mind. Gail, if you are watching, then send me an email if you're watching the replay here. Let's see. That actually would make it to the end of the questions that were asked in advance. So if anybody has any questions that they didn't ask in advance, now is the time, because we have a little bit to go. So and Joe, you're absolutely right. When I was asking Ruth if she has a camera, I did mean the camera or the projector on your embroidery machine on the Destiny. I think probably a camera rather than the projector. And Wendy, yes, I am in my new digs here. So, okay. Any questions? Can I talk more about the Tangle class? Yes, I can. Laurie, you absolutely must have been reading my mind just right then. So, August 8th. Let's see, what day is that going to be? That is going to be Thursday next week, I think. August 8th, we are launching MEL's Tangle Club, and it is inspired by Zentangle. So give you a little bit of history on this. I've had Zentangle books on my bookshelf for a decade, and I've kind of opened them up and flipped through them, but I never ever gotten the pen and a piece of paper out and actually started drawing anything, which is like, well, I have the book sitting on your bookshelf. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. Kind of you're aware of something and you're interested enough to go and buy a book and then nothing. Anyway, last year for the Digitizing Design Masterclass Plus, my good friend Minette Ridden came and did a session for the class, and it was actually based on watercolor painting. You might be wondering, why in the world is it digitizing a design class doing watercolor painting, but it was part of the design experience and looking at life a little bit differently, because in machine embroidery, we're always looking at the solid edges. And I was like, what happens if you blur the edges just a little bit, as you do in a watercolor painting? So she came and she gave us a lesson on how to do watercolor painting, and she ended it by doing some Zentangle on the watercolor painting to add a bit of detail. And I sat there tangling along with her as she is telling us about how to do this. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And I had this thought go through my mind. It's all very well, I can do this just fine with Minette guiding us and showing us the different patterns, but how in the world do you do this without Minette on the end of a Zoom call? And so it kind of went by the wayside. And then earlier this year, right around Mother's Day, Minette had a Mother's Day sale, and I wound up looking at her website, and she had a beginning Zentangle class. And I thought, you know what, I am in that. I want to do this. I want to figure this out. And I spent an entire weekend with pen and actually pieces of paper back then, drawing these Zentangle designs. And I got so hooked, it was ridiculous. I think there's probably been, only since Mother's Day to now, there's probably only been 5 days when I haven't gotten a pen and a piece of paper out and done some Zentangle drawing. What I found as I was sitting there drawing was my mind was visualizing all of these patterns. And Zentangle is basically, it's a method that was created by Rick and Maria, and for the life of me, their last names have Maria Thomas and Rick. Anyway, they created this technique, and it's a method of structured drawing, and it essentially is you can create the most beautiful patterns using C shapes, S shapes, I guess straight lines and little circles. And just the most amazing patterns. And the method itself is about how to create the patterns. And I'm drawing the patterns and I'm seeing these converting into embroidery designs in my mind. And my mind is going, okay, this is how you draw it. How do you actually go about creating this so you can stitch it on an embroidery machine? And there's not a one-to-one correspondence going on here. So I started experimenting, and I completely fell in love with the whole Zentangle concept and figuring out how to convert it so that we can use them or use the designs as embroidery designs. So MEL's Tangle Club is all about looking at patterns and figuring out how we can use them in our embroidery designs. So there are so many possibilities. We are starting on August 8th. That's when we go live. August 8th is an 888 day. I don't know if you've seen what's going on in the world about the Lionsgate portal. It's a very, very, what would be the right word? It's very important, strong portal for opening your creativity. So I feel, you know what, this is a beautiful day to start MEL's Tangle Club. I think we will really expand our creativity together. What I find when you guys merge your minds with my mind, I think amazing things happen. We've noticed this in the Digitizing and Design Masterclass, as that has happened. Auspicious, Bryony, thank you. Yes, that is a very good word. It also happens to be the day before my birthday. So I figured what better time to start having some fun. So it is going to be a ton of fun. We're going to meet on a monthly basis. Each month you will receive some new patterns to play with, new patterns and motifs, dozens of different ways to combine these things as lines, as fills. There are 2 levels. MEL's Tangle Club, the basic layer, is playing with the designs as they are. MEL's Tangle Club Plus is playing with the designs as they are, and we'll have an extra monthly meeting where I will show you how I created the embroidery designs, the embroidery version of these patterns, so that you can create your own variations on them. And let me tell you, I am having to put a timeout on how many variations I'm coming up with for some of these patterns, because I seriously, could spend days and days just playing with one different pattern. So I think we're just really going to have some fun and create some amazing patterns and do some extraordinary things with our machine embroidery. So one thing that actually I have also been finding is, I don't know, let me just pop, I want to see a hands up here. Who loves to digitize and gets a kick out of digitizing, and you don't necessarily need to go to the embroidery machine and stitch it? Anybody else like that? Yep. So MEL's Tangle Club is definitely for you as well. If you love to just play with pretty patterns and have the, to some extent, intellectual creative experience without the need to go to your embroidery machine. But if you do actually love to stitch them out, we're going to be creating some really special designs as well. So let me know if you have any more questions on that, Laurie. Marilyn said, this happens with fabric too. I think I love it. Think I will use it. And then it sits on a shelf. Yep. I think you're not the only one there. Betsy said, I've done Zentangle for years, have hand trimmer, so not doing so much now. Interested in what you're offering. Yes, Betsy, if you can utilize your mouse, then that will allow you to bring I think that will really allow you to use the software to do the digitizing and have the fun with the patterns that maybe you can't do when you're actually holding a pen. So Janet, I see your hand is raised. I'm coming to ask you to unmute here. There you go.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, good. I'm disappointed because I don't have your email if you've answered my question.
I sent and let me just check here, because I saw your question and I had to go into the system to check it out, and I figured I would send you an email instead.
So am I in or out?
You're in, but if you are not receiving the emails, then that's a little bit of a challenge. Yeah, I sent the email at 9:58 a.m. this morning, so that would have been almost 3 hours ago.
Yeah, no, there's nothing here yet. Okay, long as I'm in, because I was a little concerned because when I went to how do you pay for it? I use my US card, right? And
Okay.
when the numbers came up for it, it flipped and then brought my numbers on my card up, which was, and I wondered, okay, because I've had some problems with my emails and with banking, you see, and that bothered me. But anyways, if I'm in, then it's you. I went to the bank the other day and I got a copy of, what did it say on my card for this purchase, and it's just got www.machineembroidery a, and then there's an https www.m, and that's it.
Yeah,
that
would be us.
That's you. Good. And I didn't receive any notification that it had been received or whatever.
Yep, you are in the system, and
Okay.
I do see your purchase on July 27th, and I'm super excited for you for joining us. Let me see.
See, this was, well, maybe this was
So you
posted.
did
This is posted on the
receive-
20th.
You came, let's see, you came to the second session of the digitizing class, right? Last Friday, on Monday?
Yeah, I went No, I just went to the first one on Thursday.
Okay. Because my system shows you as opening emails, and yes, you clicked a link in one. So you have gotten some of our emails.
Yeah,
I wonder why.
I've got invitations today, but
Have
nothing.
you looked in
nothing
your spam or junk folder?
I'm sorry.
Have you looked in your spam or junk folder?
Yep, I have. I can't look in at this one right now, but on my other laptop, yes. And there's nothing on my iPad.
Okay, I am going to send you this email again.
Sometimes it
So-
takes a little while, sometimes it
So-
takes a little while, but that should have been
I
it.
am going to I'm going to put in the chat directly to you your email address, and it's the email address that we've used forever. Can you
Yep.
confirm that that's right?
Yes, wait just a minute. Do I have to reply to you now?
No, I just wanted to make sure. So I just hit send, so you should get an email any second.
Okay. I'll look on my other laptop, 'cause I don't want to.
Tell you what, if you haven't received an email from me in the next 30 minutes, you send me an email
I will.
and I will reply to that.
Okay. So
And we'll see what's going on here.
okay, good enough. I'll do that.
Sound good? And
Yes.
let me tell you, you're not the only person having trouble with emails right now. Joe and I have been back and forth about emails not arriving, so I don't know quite what's going on.
Well, it certainly bothers me, and I'm not very savvy with this program
Did you
or
get
whatever.
you got the email? You got the email today about joining the Zoom call,
I
right?
did. I got 2 emails from you today about this session.
Okay. So, I don't know why you didn't get your receipt, but let me know when you get the email I just sent you now.
Okay.
And if you haven't got it in 30 minutes, send me an email.
Okay, I will do that. Okay, I don't want to
Okay.
hold up any of your time. Thank you.
No worries. We'll get this figured out at some point.
Long as you've got your money, that's the thing. And
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't go somewhere
you're
else.
you're on the list, so you should receive the emails that go out about it. So your next
Okay.
email about Mel's Tangle Club, actually you should get one tomorrow because tomorrow's Saturday, right?
Okay.
So you should get something from me tomorrow.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And if not, I'll let you know.
Okay,
One way or
sounds good. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Bye, Janet.
Bye-bye for now.
Okay. Let's see. Any other questions that I can answer for anybody today? Let's see, where are we? We will be back 2 weeks from today, actually. I have my calendar out. So we will be back 2 weeks today for our regular Friday Zoom. And we will be back on Tuesday, August 13th. No, we won't. We'll be back on Wednesday, August 14th for the first installment of Mel's Tangle Club. You'll get information, you'll get the first set of designs should land in your inbox on August 8th, which is launch day. And you should hopefully have received an email with a link for the Zoom. You will also be able to pop into your library and access the Zoom link for Mel's Tangle Club right in your library. So if your emails aren't working for whatever reason, then you can always go into the into your library. MEL's Tangle Club should fall right at the end. So for those of you with lots of pages, jumped all the way to the last page, and you should see the most recent or August version of MEL's Tangle Club, and the Zoom link will be right in there. It's going to look a little bit different to our regular products. And I will be sending you an email out with some pictures next week so that you know what to look for and how to get everything downloaded. So I will see MEL's Tangle Club people a week on Wednesday, and everybody else 2 weeks on Friday. So I am off to the gatehouse to get my sticker for my car so that they let me through the gate without asking me 100 questions. And then I'm going to go grocery shopping. I figured it's high time that we actually found some groceries here. I do have a box around here which has the stuff out of my pantry, and for the life of me, I can't find that box anywhere. Anyhow, it's all good. Hopefully next time I see you on Zoom, it's going to be a little bit less like Boxland back here. So that's all for today. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I'm excited to see you in MEL's Tangle Club in a few days. Bye.